Good evening. The Florida Department of Transportation, Florida's Turnpike Enterprise, would like to welcome you to the public hearing for Suncoast Parkway from south of Van Dyke Road to State Road 52 Project Development and Environment, or PD&E study. This public hearing is for financial project identification number 448068-1. This environmental study has been conducted by Florida's Turnpike Enterprise in compliance with all applicable federal environmental laws and pursuant to United States Code 23 United States Code Section 327. The proposed project involves widening the Suncoast Parkway from south of Van Dyke to State Road 52, improvements to the existing interchanges at Van Dyke Road, Lutz Lake Fern Road, State Road 54, Ridge Road, and State Road 52, as well as a potential new interchange at Rangeland Boulevard. I would like to formally open the public hearing. Today is Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, and the time is approximately 6 p.m. My name is Greg Moore. I am the Turnpike's project manager for this PD&E study, and I'm supported tonight by representatives from Florida's Turnpike Enterprise and the consultant project team. We are holding this public hearing virtually and welcome those who are participating virtually or listening through the telephone. At this time, we would like to recognize any federal, state, county, or city officials who registered to attend this virtual public meeting. We do have one, Nancy Pettit, Bexley Community Development District Board of Supervisors. We'd like to welcome Nancy and welcome to all participants tonight. If you do not hear audio during the presentation, please check your computer speaker settings using Control Panel. If you experience technical difficulties during the virtual hearing, please contact technical support at tpkmeetingsupport@dot.state.fl.us. In the event of technical difficulties during the virtual hearing, please stay online while we work to resolve the issue. We will now begin the project presentation.
The Florida Department of Transportation, Florida's Turnpike Enterprise, welcomes you to the public hearing for the Suncoast Parkway, also known as State Road 589, Project Development and Environment, or PD&E study, of the Suncoast Parkway mainline widening from south of Van Dyke Road to State Road 52 in Hillsborough and Pasco counties. This public hearing is for financial project identification number 448068-1. This environmental study has been conducted by the enterprise in compliance with all federal environmental laws and pursuant to 23 United States Code, Section 327. The purpose of this public hearing is to share information with the general public about the proposed improvement, its conceptual design, and the potential beneficial and adverse social, economic, and environmental effects upon the community. The public hearing also serves as an official forum, providing an opportunity for members of the public to express their opinions regarding the project. This public hearing was advertised consistent with federal and state requirements shown on the slide. This project is being developed in accordance with the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, public participation is solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Please contact either Desiree Stills or Stefan Kulikowski at the address or phone number shown here to express any concerns regarding the enterprise's compliance with Title VI. This public hearing provides multiple participation options. The virtual option is being held on Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. Members of the public can participate via the GoToWebinar system or using their telephone. The in-person option is being held on Thursday, April 10th, 2025, at the Hilton Garden Inn. The same information is being presented during both options, and verbatim transcripts will be made of all oral proceedings. The public hearing video will be posted to the project website. The remainder of this presentation will provide an overview of the study, project needs, and our community involvement efforts. We will then review the preferred alternative and potential environmental effects, both beneficial and adverse. The study limits extend along the Suncoast Parkway from south of Van Dyke Road at milepost 13 to State Road 52 at milepost 29. The project is located within both Hillsborough and Pasco counties. There are 5 existing interchanges within the study limits. Pasco County is currently evaluating extending Rangeland Boulevard across the Suncoast Parkway. This PD&E study also includes evaluating one potential new interchange at Rangeland Boulevard, as requested by Pasco County. The purpose and need for a project provides a basis for developing, considering, evaluating, and eliminating project alternatives. The project purpose and need are to accommodate year 2050 travel demands, enhance safety, improve travel time reliability, and enhance emergency response and evacuation. In 2000, the population within Hillsborough and Pasco counties was just over 1 million people, and it more than doubled by 2023. The population within the 2 counties is forecasted to be over 2.8 million people by the year 2050. With the project located within a rapidly growing region, travel demands on the Suncoast Parkway are expected to increase by 70%. If nothing is done, the existing roadways in the study area would not be able to accommodate the expected increase in traffic. Improvements to the Suncoast Parkway are needed to accommodate year 2050 travel demands. In order to accommodate this demand, 6 lanes are needed now from south of Van Dyke Road to north of State Road 54, and 8 lanes will be needed by 2040. From north of State Road 54 to Ridge Road, 6 lanes will be needed by 2030. From Ridge Road to State Road 52, 6 lanes will be needed by 2035. Improvements to the Suncoast Parkway are needed to enhance safety. Between 2018 and 2022, there were approximately 1,045 crashes within the study limits, equating to an economic cost of $145 million. If nothing is done, increased congestion will lead to an increase in crashes. Improvements to the Suncoast Parkway are needed to improve travel time reliability. Currently, there is congestion during the morning and afternoon rush hours along the Suncoast Parkway and at the State Road 54 interchange. The proposed improvements are expected to reduce travel times during peak periods. And finally, improvements are also needed to efficiently process large volumes of traffic during emergency evacuation events. Serving communities is at the center of everything the Florida Department of Transportation does. During the development of this project, the enterprise has engaged adjacent communities and stakeholders in the project's decision-making process. In February of 2024, over 2,400 newsletters announcing the start of the study were distributed to residents, property owners, and interested parties. An alternatives public information meeting was then held in June of 2024, where project alternatives were presented. Approximately 100 people attended the alternatives public information meeting, and over 40 written comments were provided to the project team. Community feedback is at the core of all we do. The Florida Department of Transportation works with the public to balance their community vision with the community's transportation needs. This is routine on all of our projects to ensure Florida's infrastructure is safe, resilient, and efficient for many years into the future. This includes coordination with local governments and agencies to receive input that was incorporated into the preferred project alternative. A preferred project alternative has been developed based on the project needs, environmental and engineering evaluations, and community involvement. The preferred project alternative would widen the Suncoast Parkway to 8 lanes from south of Van Dyke Road to north of State Road 54, widen the Suncoast Parkway to 6 lanes from north of State Road 54 to State Road 52, improve existing interchanges, and accommodate a future interchange at Rangeland Boulevard. From south of Van Dyke Road to north of State Road 54, widening to the inside and outside is proposed to include 4 12-foot wide travel lanes in each direction, separated by a 26-foot wide median with a barrier wall. From north of State Road 54 to State Road 52, widening to the inside is proposed to provide 3 12-foot wide travel lanes in each direction, separated by a 40-foot wide median. Now we will cover the details of the preferred alternative related to the 5 existing interchange locations. After, we will discuss the ongoing planning efforts around a potential new interchange at the future Rangeland Boulevard. At the Van Dyke Road interchange, the preferred alternative includes adding an additional left turn lane to the northbound and southbound off-ramps and adding a turn lane along Van Dyke Road in the westbound direction to Ramblewood Road. Hillsborough County is currently planning improvements to Van Dyke Road that includes adding a shared use path through the south side of the interchange. Proposed interchange improvements, as noted on the slide, will accommodate the county's planned shared use path. In addition, a shared use path on the north side is proposed as part of the interchange modifications. At the Lutz Lake Fern Road interchange, the preferred alternative consists of minor modifications that includes adding additional turn lanes and extending turn lanes at the intersections. In addition, a shared use path is proposed within the interchange area on both sides of Lutz Lake Fern Road. At the State Road 54 interchange, the preferred alternative includes adding an additional right turn lane to the northbound off-ramp, an additional right and left turn lane to the southbound off-ramp, and an additional left turn lane from westbound State Road 54 to the southbound on-ramp. Along State Road 54 itself, an additional through lane would be added in the westbound direction beginning at the southbound off-ramp, continuing past Crossings Boulevard and up to South Branch Boulevard. Improvements would also include a shared use path on both sides within the interchange area. At the Ridge Road interchange, the preferred alternative includes adding left and right turn lanes to the northbound off-ramp, realigning the right turn lane from the southbound off-ramp to improve the safety of the trail crossing, and adding a left turn lane from eastbound Ridge Road to the northbound on-ramp. Improvements include adding a shared use path on the north side within the interchange area. At the State Road 52 interchange, the preferred alternative includes adding a left and right turn lane to the northbound off-ramp, and adding a second right turn lane from eastbound State Road 52 to the southbound on-ramp. Improvements would also include a shared use path on both sides within the interchange area. We will now discuss the ongoing planning and development of a potential new interchange with the future extension of Rangeland Boulevard. When considering any new interchange connection, Florida's Turnpike Enterprise adheres to the following criteria. A new interchange must connect to a public roadway and serve all movements. The interchange must meet safety and operational requirements. The interchange must be supported by the local community. We place a high priority on projects that are welcomed within the communities we serve. And finally, the interchange must be consistent with local government plans and priorities. The preferred alternative includes adding a new interchange at Rangeland Boulevard. However, a new interchange would not be constructed until all criteria are met and funding has been identified. We will now review the interchange concept developed for Rangeland Boulevard. At Rangeland Boulevard, the interchange concept includes loop ramps on the north side of the future Rangeland Boulevard. The southbound off-ramp would include 2 left turn lanes and a single right turn lane. 2 left turn lanes would be provided from eastbound Rangeland Boulevard to access southbound Suncoast Parkway. The northbound off-ramp would include 2 left turn lanes and 2 right turn lanes. A single left turn lane would be provided from eastbound Rangeland Boulevard to access northbound Suncoast Parkway. Accommodating the northbound ramps involves a need for additional right-of-way from the adjacent parcel, as shown in yellow. The addition of a new interchange would also require some minor modifications to the alignment of the Suncoast Trail, as indicated on the slide. Trail users would go under the Rangeland Boulevard Bridge, cross the intersection on the west side through a crosswalk, and then continue around the interchange ramp to the north as shown. As a reminder, an interchange at Rangeland Boulevard would not be constructed until the previously discussed criteria are met. As part of every PD&E study, the no-build or no-action alternative is considered. The no-build alternative describes the conditions that will occur if the mainline widening or interchange improvements are not built. Advantages include no impacts to the social, physical, or natural environment, and no additional right-of-way or construction cost. Disadvantages include increased congestion and safety issues, slower emergency evacuation and response times, and future growth in the region would not be accommodated. Selection of the no-build alternative would not meet the project's purpose and need. When comparing the no-build alternative versus the build alternative, the build alternative eliminates mainline backups, reducing Suncoast travel time by 17% between Van Dyke Road and State Road 52. With the project access enhancements, signal delay within the study area decreases by 43%. The build alternative also reduces congestion on local roads, such as State Road 54. The build alternative will reduce future crashes, which result in a potential savings of $36.2 million over 20 years. Quality of life will also be improved, with reduced congestion and commuting time, improved air quality and accessibility, and reduced noise pollution with the addition of noise walls. We encourage you to visit the project website to view detailed exhibits of the proposed improvements. As part of the study, the enterprise evaluated the potential social, natural, physical, and cultural effects of the proposed project. The features listed are just some of the types of analysis included in this PD&E study. Avoidance or minimization of impacts to these features is a key consideration. Impacts that cannot be avoided will be mitigated. There are two areas of the project with a potential need for right-of-way or potential need for additional land. The first area of need is a quarter-acre sliver of land adjacent to the bridge over TPC Boulevard, and the second area of need is 18.7 acres of land in the northeast quadrant of the proposed Range Boulevard interchange. Please refer to the display boards for more details. The right-of-way needs for this project will not result in any business or residential relocations. A cultural resources assessment survey was conducted for this PD&E study to identify any cultural resources and assess their eligibility for listing in the National Register of Historic Places. No archaeological sites eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places were identified. 4 historical resources were identified, but determined not to be eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. No significant impacts are anticipated as a result of this project. Federal protected species may be present or utilize areas within the proposed project. The project may affect, but is not likely to adversely affect, the eastern indigo snake, Florida scrub jay, and wood stork. Florida's Turnpike Enterprise will request technical assistance with the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, USFWS, on the project during the permitting and design phase regarding the regulations for these protected species and mitigation measures. State protected species may be present or utilize areas within the proposed project, but no adverse impacts are anticipated. Florida's Turnpike Enterprise will continue coordinating with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission regarding these species. There are 6 existing wildlife crossings within the study limits. All existing wildlife crossings will be maintained, and opportunities to enhance will be considered during the design phase. The proposed roadway and stormwater pond improvements will potentially affect an estimated 6.15 acres of wetlands and 0.6 acres of surface waters. Florida's Turnpike Enterprise will mitigate wetland and surface water impacts resulting from this project's construction to meet state and federal requirements. Final pond site locations will be determined in the design phase. A location hydraulics report was prepared for the project to identify potential 100-year floodplain encroachments resulting from the proposed improvements. Floodplain impacts will be fully compensated for, and there will be no net increases to floodplain stages as a result of this project. A contamination screening evaluation report was prepared for this project to identify contamination concerns within the study area. The results of the contamination screening identified no high-risk sites, 6 medium-risk sites, 15 low-risk sites, and 2 no-risk sites for the roadway and stormwater pond improvements. These sites will be further evaluated during the design phase to identify options to avoid, minimize, or mitigate contamination involvement. A noise study report was prepared for this project. Impacted locations throughout the corridor were found to be potentially feasible and reasonable for noise walls. These locations are proposed for future study during design and can be seen in the noise study report prepared for this project. For more detailed information on the proposed improvements, including potential noise wall locations, visit the display boards located on the project website and at the in-person hearing, where a noise specialist will be available to answer your questions. The potential locations for noise barriers are outlined on the project exhibits. The legend included on each exhibit depicts the potential feasible and reasonable noise barrier locations as light blue, as shown here. The total project cost for the preferred alternative is estimated at approximately $984.2 million in present-day costs. All project-related costs are included in this total estimate. Pending completion of this PD&E study, the design phase for portions of the proposed project is funded. There is currently no funding for right-of-way or construction. The evaluation matrix compares the preferred project alternative to the no-build alternative and is on display and available for review. We continue to encourage public input to help us make this important decision. You can submit written comments at the project website, www.suncoastparkwaypde.com, or you can mail or email your comments directly to the project manager, Greg Moore. During the in-person hearing, you can also submit your written comments using the comment forms provided. Written comments must be received no later than April 24, 2025, to become part of the public hearing record. The next step is to incorporate your input on this public hearing into our decision-making process. After the comment period closes and your input has been considered, a decision will be made, and the final PD&E document will be approved. This project has and will continue to comply with all applicable state and federal rules and regulations. Thank you for participating in tonight's public hearing. This concludes our presentation.
Nope, no audio? Do it this way? Okay, good. Sorry we had audio difficulty, but I think we're back. It is now 6:24 and we will begin the formal comment period. We will call on participants wishing to speak and provide input. You can use the raise your hand feature in the GoToWebinar interface. We also have a comments box. I believe it may be called a questions box, where you can type your question there. We have been monitoring during the presentation. Some of you have already raised your hands and we're making notes of those, and we'll take those in order the best that we can. When your name is called, you'll be unmuted. If the microphone icon in the GoToWebinar panel is green, then you are ready to make your comment. We should be able to hear you. If the microphone icon is red, you will need to click on the icon to turn it green, and then you should be ready to speak, and we will communicate to that effect. If you would, please state your name and address for the record so that we can provide a response. And if you're representing an organization, municipality, or other public body, you can provide that information as well. We do ask that you limit your comments to 2 minutes so that we can provide time for everyone to give their input on the project. The other item that I would just emphasize is that we will not get into detailed responses to questions tonight. We're happy to hear your input, and we will make notes of any questions where you would like further information, and we will respond to those in writing as a follow-up to this proceeding. And so with that, we'll go ahead and start. First up, we have this is a difficult pronunciation for me. I'm going to do my best, but it's Kayum Last name Shaukat. If you can unmute and go ahead and provide your input, we're ready to go.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, good, good. So my name is Kayam, and I'm a resident at Courtyard Loop in Bexley. So we at Bexley are strongly against any interchange at Rangeland Boulevard because Bexley is a small residential community, and it's built on the concept of natural trails, biking, pedestrian lifestyle. And there is no point in building any interchange on Rangeland Boulevard. In addition, this interchange will be a violation of the Bexley MPUD, which calls for collector roads, but not arterial roads. And Bexley is not able to handle all the traffic that is supposed to come through this interchange into this small residential community. There's no commercial activity here. There's no point in building an interchange because there's already one interchange in 54, which is less than a mile. It does not meet safety and operational requirements, and it is not supported by the local community, and it's not consistent with local plans, which is Bexley MPUD. So we are strongly against this. I think whoever came up with this idea has no sense on what they're trying to do. Plus, it will endanger the lives of children. We have a lot of bikers here. Children go to school. There's an elementary school there, and the clubhouse is right there, where the Rangeland Boulevard is supposed to meet with the Bud Bexley Boulevard. And people go there by walk. There's a community, there's a cafe, there's a pool there. Also, it will disrupt the traffic. People living on the west side of Bexley to access Road 54 because there will be so much traffic coming through the interchange. So this is a really bad idea. Also, why there is no consideration to make improvements to Route 54, which is poorly designed. There are 4 traffic lights at the interchange between Suncoast Parkway and 54. And the traffic backs up because those traffic lights take long time to change, and that causes congestion. I think, the Florida Department of Transportation should look into improving that interchange by building flyovers instead of proposing to divert all the traffic into a small village. This is a poor planning, I think, on the part of the county government and the Florida Department of Transportation, and has not considered anything about the impact on local community, and they have no idea what kind of lifestyle people are living there, and just coming up with this idea to develop to add an interchange within a mile of 54, I think is a pretty bad idea. Also, I was wondering why there was no consideration given to bikers who want to, like people in Bexley who want to go to the other side and join the Suncoast Parkway. The bike trail should have been, there should have been underpass under Suncoast Parkway to get to the other side, and also for the wildlife to easily cross the Suncoast Parkway. I think instead of a bridge, there should be consideration to build an underpass under the Suncoast Parkway. And also,
Thank you so much for your comment. We're going to have to wrap this up just because we do have a number of others wishing to speak, and we're trying to keep the comments to 2 minutes. We do appreciate your input, and we will be there on Thursday as well if you'd like to attend the live public hearing. But we do appreciate that input, and we'd like to move on to the next speaker if you could accommodate that.
Yes, sure. Thank you. But just one more thing is that the noise, for the Bexley, we're already, having a lot of noise coming from the highway. and adding another lane would add more noise. And we would like to request that if you have extra lane to have noise barriers to protect, the Bexley from all the noise coming from the highway. Thank you. Bye.
Understood. Thank you. The next speaker we have is Robin Felix. Robin, are you able to unmute and share your comment with us? Robin, if you're speaking, you might need to unmute with the little microphone button so it turns green and then we can hear you. Okay,
Can you hear me now?
Yep, there you go. We got you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to first of all thank DOT for this meeting. We appreciate the opportunity to speak and be heard. Once again, my name is Robin Felix. I live at 4076 Wisdom Trail in the Bexley community, adjacent to the Rangeland Boulevard potential extension. A couple things. First point is our community was not made aware of the June 2024 meetings. We just recently heard about the Rangeland Extension project through Pasco County. And of course, we are very engaged with the county now after learning about it. But we were not aware of those June 2024 meetings. So wanted to pass that along. Second of all, as I mentioned, we are working with Pasco County to eliminate the Rangeland Boulevard extension at the Suncoast Parkway. We know that the Rangeland Boulevard project will happen, but we are working to eliminate the extension with the Suncoast. You mentioned that you want to do projects that are supported by the community. This is absolutely not supported by the local community. I know Pasco County requested the project, but once the residents found out, it is not supported. So I just want to make that point. So we're asking for a no-build alternative at Rangeland Boulevard. I don't have any comments on the lane extensions. The other point I would like to make, my husband's a urban planner, and the previous gentleman mentioned that the interchange is less than 1 mile than the 54 interchange. And from his experience, he absolutely believes that's going to cause major backups, having two interchanges only less than 1 mile away from each other. So I believe my time's up. I do want to thank you again. Again, the Bexley community is absolutely against an extension at Rangeland Boulevard, and we appreciate this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Robin, for those comments. We will now go to Sally Freeman, and then I think we have a handful of others after that. So, Sally, if you can unmute, you're welcome to provide your comments and input at this time.
Hi, this is actually Bob Freeman, Sally's husband. I had a question regarding the sound barriers, right? We currently live on 18631 Les Dauphines Place, which is a cul-de-sac. We can see the veterans from our property. The noise from the highway now is pretty loud. It's louder than it used to be after removing trees from the area between the homes and the veterans. What are you going to do to mitigate the sound if you're adding a sound barrier? You're adding more sound barriers. How is that going to mitigate the sound? Is what I'm asking. When it's not mitigated now, really.
Mr. Freeman, is that the extent of your comment?
That's it. I'm asking a question. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So we won't get into specific answers at this time, but I can clarify for you, just for the benefit of others that may also have similar concerns on the veterans. This project is just adjacent to the veterans, and we start just south of the Van Dyke Road interchange. So it's really the focus is on the Suncoast Parkway. I believe there may have been a recent.
And that's what I mean. I mean the
Yeah.
Suncoast, where
Yeah,
I call
so,
it.
and for those that would like specifics on the noise wall locations where they've been, through this preliminary evaluation, where they've been deemed to be feasible and cost, they meet the criteria, for installing them. Again, that final decision will be made during the design process, but the exhibits that you can now access on the project website, I think they're numbered like 1 through 4. I think it is, starting from the south. And so if you're down at the south end around Van Dyke and Lutz Lake Fern, it would be the first exhibit, and then northward from there. And those proposed locations are shown on those exhibits, so you're welcome to take a look at that if you have specific questions. Those are very high resolution exhibits. You should be able to download and zoom in on those details. So those are available now, if that helps. And again, we will, when we're in person on Thursday, we will have staff, we'll have actually quite a few staff that'll be there. We'll have our noise specialist, and we'll be able to interact with you at the project displays to get into specific questions like that. In this format, it's just real difficult without the ability to kind of focus on a certain location with this format to get into responses. But we do appreciate your comment, and hopefully we'll see you on Thursday. Okay, so let's go to Stephen Bryatek. Apologize if I didn't get that last name correct, but Brletic. Stephen, are you able to unmute and provide your comment?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
Okay, yeah. My name is Stephen Berletic. I'm the district engineer for the Cheval CDD. They asked me to be a part of this meeting. I have a number of questions. I know this isn't really a back and forth, it seems like, in this uh, meeting, but the main questions I have are, I see all the draft reports on the website. When will the full finalized version of the full PD&E study be available? That's one question. The next one was the main concern that we talked about at CDD meetings and has been voiced by the community is the noise portion. I know the draft reports have, recommendations, some specifications, and I saw the exhibits that were supplied in those drafts. The two questions I have are, does this analysis address the current noise condition versus the proposed, or is there any kind of acknowledgement that there's an already existing noise issue and we're addressing that as well as the current and proposed? And can you kind of maybe elaborate on the cost per beneficiary analysis, as in, there's something in the report that talked about an upset limit um, of 64,000 per beneficiary for each section. What happens when those limits maybe go down or something changes? What will happen to the implementation of the noise barriers, or whatever's recommended in the report at that time? And then my last one was, we had sent in a formal letter about, some of the, and it was alluded to in the presentation about impacts to the CDD property at TPC Boulevard or any other access that would be required of the Cheval CDD, at least asks from us. I know that the responses were, hey, we don't know. There's, we got to get into this design phase, which is totally reasonable. But is there any kind of timetable that you can share with us that would be, even just a range that a sit down to answer some of these specific questions, or, participation in a CDD meeting might be the most beneficial for the community? At least some kind of, when will we start to talk about those issues? So those are my comments.
This isn't good. Thank you, Stephen. I would like to answer all of those for you, and I believe that if we do get to interact on Thursday, that we can provide some pretty good responses to all those details. For the benefit of the larger group, the PD&E study will complete sometime this summer. The project documents that you see posted now are in draft form. As those get finalized, they will be made available. We will have a transcript of the public hearing and all the proceedings and responses to all the comments that we do prepare in writing. We're taking notes tonight, and we'll be addressing those comments, even though, as Stephen mentioned, that those were submitted by email. The team is working on those. And we are also happy to meet with neighborhood associations as needed. The design phase affecting that segment is on the heels of the PD&E study. It's due to advertise in the next few months. The current plan the Turnpike has is to proceed with design by the end of this year. That is a multi-year process, though. It's something like 3 to 5 years to complete design, and that includes the permitting and any right-of-way acquisition. So timeline-wise, from right now, you're looking at before construction could even begin, it would be, probably 2030 plus, 2031 type time frame. So there is, during design, there is ample opportunity and a complete community involvement plan associated with that effort too, where there will be additional public meetings to keep the community informed of the design process. And a lot of the finite details that questions are being asked about tonight, those will be further fleshed out through that design process. And that, again, that's a multi-year effort. So we do have time to work through these issues, and we're certainly happy to do that with you. So let's go to the next person, Nancy Pettit. Nancy, or can you unmute and provide your comment?
Hi, yes, this is Nancy Pettit. I am calling on behalf of the Bexley community, which I think there's a couple that also commented on that as well. Bexley will be impacted mostly by the Rangeland Boulevard extension project, which I do want to thank the Pasco County local transportation and engineering team, Nick, and as well as the county commissioner. They've met and been very open to just communication and hearing from the community. But I wanted to just speak up as far as the opportunity, especially around an interchange connection. I'll share that within 3 days of bringing up this information kind of to the community, there was an overwhelming majority of over 1,000 signatures on an online petition within 3 days, really especially being against the idea of an interchange connection. And just over 1,500 homes, and the idea of this actually come directly through and split through the Bexley community. Not only that, it would change what is currently a roundabout to a signalized intersection, which would also eliminate south and eastbound exits from the Bexley community. There are currently elementary schools and other schools in the area, and this would really increase safety issues and cause confusion for local buses and other drivers. And so I'm happy to hear by joining this that the only reason it's being considered is it sounds like Pasco County brought it up and it's not a push from the Florida Department of Transportation. I just want to ensure that the Bexley community is heard, and that the chances of this having an interchange connection hopefully are squashed. So thanks for your time.
Thank you, Nancy. We appreciate those comments. If I could just address the rangeland issue for the benefit of the larger group. We are aware of that coordination. Again, as we presented, this is it's a local decision for the interchange. We have included the concept in our study, but it will only be advanced, if it continues to move forward from a local perspective. It does meet our criteria, and it does, fit within the project, but the widening of the Suncoast can be advanced either way. So the widening from Lutz Lake Fern up through north of 54, widening from 4 to 8 lanes, and then widening from 6 lanes from there on up. That can be advanced with or without the rangeland interchange, so we are just awaiting the local decision on whether or not that moves forward. And we did hear recently that there will be a follow-up meeting that Pasco County is working to schedule. I think I've heard a date of May 1st, but you can check with your Pasco County leadership on that. And so, and that's going to be specific to the rangeland extension and those issues. And so we are, we're really focused on the Suncoast corridor and whether or not there's an interchange is a local decision. So with that, we'll go to Alan Cherkasky. Hopefully I pronounced that close. Alan, are you able to unmute?
Hi there. Yes, good evening. My name is Alan Cherkasky, and I also live in Bexley. I would like to state on the record that the interchange on Rangeland Boulevard on 589 is definitely not preferred or supported by the local community, as you've just heard by a few different folks. And I'm sure you'll hear from others. I just want to emphasize that the community as a whole, speaking with other neighbors, are very strongly against this project. I would also suggest keeping the interchange as it currently is on 54, as mentioned by someone earlier, improving the on and off ramps, potentially beyond just widening them by possibly some type of overpass as completed on Bruce B. Downs, or maybe a figure 8 type of interchange as completed in Wesley Chapel. But running it through a quiet community is definitely not what we would like. As mentioned, not really at all supported by this community, as it will literally divide it in half. Thank you.
Can't keep that on. Gabrielle Brochard. Gabrielle, are you able to unmute?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're just
Okay.
fine.
So this is Gabrielle Brochard. I'm at 4365 Epic Cove. So I'm also in Bexley. So I will mention, of course, we're against the Rangeland Boulevard on and off ramps to the Suncoast. You've clearly heard that many times, and we are working closely with the county. I would ask if it would be helpful if we provide information to you as well from our community's perspective. It sounds like it's mostly just the county, but if there's at all help for us providing information or working with you as a CDD and HOA board, we're happy to do that as well. So just let us know. And then I will provide some other input on the rest of the project. We're also concerned about the noise here. So where I am, we can hear the noise off the Suncoast, even where it is just 4 lanes, 2 in each direction. So we'd be very interested in a noise barrier wall up here, essentially from 54 up past where Rangeland Boulevard will be. So that's something that we'd be very interested in. I'm trying to find your noise exhibits online, and I will take a look at that as well. And then also this interchange on 54, I would echo the could it be considered, and it does look maybe there's some options there. I also haven't been able to look into them. I just got on the website of like changing the intersection to provide a flyover or some sort of other interchange that will allow traffic on 54 to move more smoothly with the traffic getting on and off the Suncoast Parkway. So those are things I'd like for you guys to consider: the noise barrier up here past 54, up past Rangeland Boulevard, and also changing the 54 intersection to provide better flow through traffic on 54. Thank you for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the comments. We appreciate that. Okay, we'll go to Paul Descharme. Paul, are you able to unmute?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you now.
Good, thank you. Yeah, I'm also a resident of Bexley Village and strongly opposed to the Rangeland Boulevard Extension project. When I first heard about it and I looked at it, I thought, what in the world are they trying to do? They're picking up over there on Route 54 by Gun Highway, which is already a very complicated intersection. They're going to route the road behind a subdivision, between subdivision and protected wildlands, cross over the Suncoast Highway. And when I drove down the Suncoast Highway one day and looked at where they were proposing to put this overpass, I thought it was total madness. and then they're going to go across and then tie into a rotary by the clubhouse and terminate that project there. So I just don't understand why it's even being proposed. And the other thing too is that you were mentioning that some of these goals are by 2050 to provide safer roads, cut down on accidents. Accidents are actually happening because of lack of enforcement and not by road design specifically. The complicated intersection that you would have at Gun Highway in 54 would be further complicated, resulting in more accidents as people are trying to negotiate complicated intersections to get onto this rangeland boulevard. So I think if that's the goal, that's, you're trying to produce a safer driving environment. That's not going to work. And then you're just dumping people in a rotary in Bexley Village by the clubhouse, which is pointless to me. The other thing too is I don't think there's an issue with widening the Suncoast Highway. I mean, for 2050, we need it now. That's a no-brainer. That should be worked on now. But the Rangeland Boulevard extension just makes no sense to me. It's destructive. It will be expensive, and it will serve no purpose. I think that some of the issues regarding what might happen 25 years from now in 2050, there's a lot of other issues having to do with self-driving cars. We don't have a crystal ball to know what the driving habits of the people are going to be 25 years from now. But I think that to make the road safer, it should be a matter of enforcement, not road redesign. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Paul. We will now go to Jitha Priya. I hope I got that pronunciation. Last name starts with Raj. You can go ahead and unmute if you're ready to make your comment. Jitha Priya? Maybe I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Is he still with us? Yeah. Are you able to unmute? We can't hear you just yet. I can come back to you if needed. How about George Thomas? Do we have George ready to speak?
Hello, this is George. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Thanks.
Okay, yeah. So I don't live in Bexley, but I do live in Ivy Lakes. And one of the problems that we faced over the years is that the traffic on 54 has been really bad. And one of the main concerns that I have is that the southbound exit from Suncoast to 54, the right lane, will there be a light there? Will there be a traffic light? Because right now there's people backing up, and it's really tough to go left when you're going southbound on 54. Southbound on Suncoast going towards 54. Will there be a light? And I'm hoping you guys will be able to put a light there, because there's a lot of backup happening there, and people always honk behind you, and there's a lot of pressure to make the wrong driving decisions, especially for kids coming in from Angeline or any of those high schools over there. That's one concern that I have. Are you guys doing anything? I know there's a lot of people who are against the Rangeline Boulevard. Is there an alternative? Because if you don't have that, that means that there's going to be even more traffic on 54. So just want to know if you guys are going to remove it, then we need to have another entrance to Suncoast. And it would definitely help alleviate some of the traffic problems on 54. Thanks.
Okay, George, thanks for sharing those comments.
Yeah.
That's very helpful. Jithapriya, were you able to unmute? I was coming back to you. And next up we have Chris Curran, but if starting with GEETHAPRIYA, if you're ready to speak, you can go ahead.
Hi, hello. Yes, I'm able to unmute right now. Hi, my name is Geeta Priya Rajashekharan, and I have been following this with the project manager for the last few years. And I currently live in Terramore community, and as we are right closer to the Suncoast Parkway, and my main concern is the noise pollution. The noise has been like it has been a concern for the past few years. It's rising more and more, and with you guys trying to and widen the expressway at this point, the the cars are going to go faster than before, like the way they are doing in the Veterans Expressway, and the noise is going to be high. And I see that I read the report, the PD report, and there is a plan for a noise barrier. But I see the noise barrier just stops right at the start of the community. I live my house is located on the back, like my backyard is closer to the Veterans Expressway. And we just hear the sound, like even when we can see the car light when it is traveling like even half a mile, and we can hear the noise. And I just wanted that to be taken into consideration. I don't think anyone did a noise study from the back of my house, and I use a noise meter, and it's already like close to 65, 70 at times when a truck passes by from the backyard. And I don't even live right on the highway, closer to the highway. I'm like 6 or 7 houses down the road. So I just wanted to, what is the need to convert it into an 8 lane at this moment, rather than it's currently a 4 lane? Why not to a 6 lane? I know Pasco County is growing unrestricted, but at the end of the day, people's health, so many people are exposed to the higher pollution at this point, and no noise barrier, nothing. And as you said, it's going to be like the current project is going to start at 2030, and people are getting exposed to this noise longer period of time. What can be done to expedite the noise barrier? And is there any plan for any vegetations as well along the roads to cut down the noise that's coming from the Veterans Express Suncoast Parkway at this moment?
Thank you for those comments. We appreciate that. Chris Curran, are you prepared to speak? You can go ahead and unmute.
Yes. Yes. Hi. Thank you very much for your time. For two quick questions. The benefit per resident of 64,000 that you mentioned for noise abatement, that's going to actual noise barriers along the side of the highway. Are you going to are you going to be making any funding available to individual residents for things like windows or other noise mitigation vehicles? So that's the first question, barriers versus individual residencies. And then the second comment or question was, you had mentioned something about being able to set up time for you guys to come in to our association. I'm a, excuse me, I'm a supervisor for the Cheval West Community Development District, and we'd like to set that time up. How do we go about doing that? Who do we contact, et cetera? And what would the timing be? And that's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Chris. We'll certainly follow up with you and the community on that. Mary Fernandez, are you available to speak at this time? And next we have Timothy Chabale. So Mary, are you able to unmute?
Yes, this is Mary Fernandez, and while we are the community that I'm in is Orange Blossom Creek. We have 2 phases, one's on the north side and one's on the south side of the veterans. While we were not on the slide of the neighborhoods that are impacted, we would like to respectfully request that you do consider adding us to that list, because we are just adjacent to Lake LeClaire where this project is starting. Right now, we were impacted whenever it went from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. My understanding is that we missed the receptor by a 0.1, and already we are impacted with the noise, where it increased from 2 lanes to 4. We're going to go 6 to 8. We already have a backlog of traffic. There is a through lane that ends right above us, and it's consistent every day. The semi trucks governing themselves down because of traffic that's trying to get merged back over right because the fast lane ends. Currently, the phase 2, the wall barriers, the barrier walls did not go all the way to the end of our community on phase 2. Phase 1, going southbound, east side, we have none. And we'd like to respectfully request that we be added to this so that we can be considered for not only the noise barriers, because as has been mentioned by several others, the more lanes we have, the communities that are being built and proposed to be built is going to increase the traffic. And we're already, it backlogs. I can look at it out my screened in porch at 3:30. It starts backing up and it's backed up till 6, 7 o'clock. Noise studies were mentioned that has been done. I understand that the FDOT does not recognize an individual's noise decibel meter. However, they do work, they do give us a reading, and it might be off by 1 or 2 points. We are currently getting 79 on our reading. So we would really like to respectfully ask that we be added to the communities to be considered, especially for the sound barrier walls. The other, when they did the first project from 2 to 4, we were to have vegetation trees replanted. None were replanted. That's
Okay,
it.
thank you for those comments, Mary. We have a few more speakers, and we don't see any other hands up. So if you do wish to make a comment, please go ahead and raise your hand. I have Timothy Chabale is next, and then after that it's Tara and Scott Pinkerton. Go ahead, Timothy, if you're ready. You'll need to unmute with the microphone until it turns green. We don't hear you just yet, Timothy. Okay, we'll come back to Timothy. Let's go to Tara and Scott. Are you all ready to speak?
Yes, we are.
Okay, go ahead.
I just have 1 or 2 quick questions. One would be just looking at these maps and looking at them for the first time tonight. Are you expanding the lanes inward, or are you taking land outward to expand on either side?
The widening in the section that goes to 8 lanes is a combination inside and out, but most of the improvements are into the median.
Okay, because we live in Cheval and we live near to the TPC overpass. And how would that actually be done? Would that be, you'd be expanding, I guess you'd be expanding and adding to the bridge, right?
We can
We're trying
get
to figure out
into
how that wouldn't really be an eyesore to our community.
Yeah, we can respond to that concern in terms of how the construction would be executed. A little bit too much detail to go into in this forum, but happy to provide some input on that to you in response to your comment. Was there any other issues you'd like to discuss tonight?
Well, along the Cheval area where it would expand, if it's expanding outwardly, like there's a lake and a playground and all kinds of things in our community, that would you be expanding? Would we lose all of that?
The proposed right-of-way was covered in the presentation. There's very little encroachment within that area outside the existing roadway corridor. So without being able to see the map, I couldn't tell you, but I would lean toward no.
Okay.
But you're more than welcome to attend on Thursday. We'll have the we'll have the exhibits there with the details of the project and be able to help answer your question one-on-one.
Okay.
Does anyone else have a comment they'd like to make? I think I was going to come back to Timothy. Timothy, are you able to unmute? Okay, I don't think we're able to get Timothy connected at this point. Do we have anything in the chat window questions box? Okay, our team is just taking one last look to see if we have any others that would like to speak. Timothy, at any time as we continue, if you'd like to make your comment, please unmute, and we'll let you know if we can hear you. I do have a few. I have one or two others here. Brooke Cobb, if you'd like to make your comment, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Okay, so I also live in Orange Blossom Creek, and I agree with Mary if we could please be included. And then I think the other thing with the wall, I don't know how this is considered, but I live the closest to the veterans. We had someone come out, I think in 2018, to do the sound barrier. I'm out in my backyard now, so you can probably hear all the background traffic. But not just that, it's the safety of people their cars get pulled over, they get left by the police, and then they just walk down, right? So they come off the veterans and they walk down into our backyards, into our neighborhoods. They have a small chain link fence at the bottom, but that's it. And they did not replace the vegetation as she mentioned. So if we could be included, as you're going to continue to do this work, the dust, the overall dirt for those years was incredible. And the noise all night long, the pounding, it just is incredible the amount of noise that's created from the work, because it is done a lot at night and there's no consideration for that. There's no notification. People in these neighborhoods have small children. I remember being pregnant with 3 small babies who would be woken up night after night for months while I would go out. I mean, you wanted to lose your mind. So I think that the wall has to be built before. Somehow there has to be some process put in place so that that's considered in the workflow, right? So you're not pounding these big, large, I don't know what they're called, columns, poles into the ground with these large machines. And then also that the wall is protecting the people from the people just coming off the veterans. I have one pulled over right now as we speak, where some guy will just eventually walk down and be behind our neighborhood and in our house in a gated community. So please consider that as well.
Okay, thank you for your comments, Brooke. Do we have Jerry Rainey?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
Yeah. Hey, first, thanks for doing this. I am at a bit of a disadvantage in transitioning to the community of Cheval. I have a home there at 18906 Masson. And I just kind of want to pick up on my neighbor's comment about Cheval and pushing outward. And I don't know how you do that with it's pretty tight back in there, and the maps that we were presented tonight didn't have that level of detail. The question I have, or the statement I have, is regarding process more than anything. You mentioned that she could attend the public hearing, which is wonderful, and I would encourage her to do that. But some of us cannot do that, and I'm hoping that while you address her concerns on a one-to-one basis, that you make that also part of the public record. Where those sound barriers go down, where you're taking land to accommodate the additional construction. I know you're going to do that, but I'm very interested in the answer to the specific question that she answered, and not sure how I get that unless it's made part of the public record. That's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. That is the last speaker that we had registered, unless Timothy is able to unmute. I think that's the only one we were unable to connect with, and we haven't seen anything in the comments box. So we will go ahead and he's good. He's there.
Yeah.
Timothy, yep, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Hey, sorry about that. Really appreciate it. My name's Tim Chevelle, calling from Orange Blossom Creek. I think you heard Brooke and Mary. I just want to piggyback on their concerns. Mainly, for me, it's that slide 40 where it talks about getting our community on the noise wall list. Mary mentioned we did a noise study pre 2005. The last one we did was in 2014. So 11 years of growth on veterans between our home, which is South Van Dyke, to Wilcox, hugging both sides of veterans, phase one and phase two. So that'd be the first question. How do we get added? Obviously, the growth has started already, as you outlined in slide 9, which is notorious for this area. And then the second thing is just how do we access the online, I think, drawings that somebody else mentioned? Because again, trying to get a wall here would be great, so we don't have to listen to motocross at 11 p.m. every night. On that, I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you, Timothy. We're glad that you were able to get connected and appreciate your comments. It is now 7:12 p.m. and we will be, let me just back up for a second. It is now 7:12 p.m. We will, let's see, we did all that. Let's go to the next slide. Written comments can also be submitted. Any written material received at this public hearing or by the public comment date of April 24th will become part of the public hearing record. We thank you for attending this public hearing and providing your input into the project. A verbatim transcript of this hearing's oral proceedings, together with all written material received as part of the hearing record, and all studies, displays, and information material provided at the hearing will be made part of the project's decision-making process and will be available on the project website at www.suncoastparkwaypde.com and at Florida's Turnpike Enterprise for public review upon request. It is now 7:13 p.m. and I hereby officially close the public hearing for Suncoast Parkway from south of Van Dyke to State Road 52 PD&E study. We appreciate your participation. Thank you again and have a good evening.